And it's great. And so now let's talk about getting back out. And you know, I thought through this, and this is Cachet's thought through ideas. And so if there's something that you find in this that you thought, oh, okay, maybe, or think rather, I want to try, you're welcome to try it. If you don't want to do it, you don't have to do it. So phase one, you know, we're in May. And so we're getting out. We're told we can go to restaurants now and you know, go to stores a little bit more and get out. One of the things is an option when you're booking your reservation and you want to do a group of 4 or 5 people, book the private room, book the patio. You know, do things like that where you're saying, okay, so you want to have a little group girls party, right? Or you've had something you've been putting off, a birthday. We could talk about what we're doing tonight. But
yeah,
you know, we said, okay, you know, at the end of the day, I'm going to meet up with the ladies, but what are we going to do? We're going to have the private room. So in the private room, it's just us, right? And so then when we leave, we're going to leave right out of the restaurant. And in some cases, if you still want to have your mask on when you walk through the door to the actual room, leave your mask on. Go to the bathroom, leave your mask on. Put some gloves on, have them in your purse. And, you know, but again, you're socializing, you're limiting your socialization event or party or whatever it is that you're doing to the ladies or to the guys or whatever your group is, to the room that you're with. And then as you leave out, you're still practicing safety. You're still practicing social distancing. You're not mingling. You're not going around. You're wearing your gloves. You're putting your mask on. So phase one, slowly start socializing and doing things like that. This past weekend, we went out to dinner and we booked and we sat out on the patio. So we were out here on the patio. And it was so amazing because, you know, everybody was looking at everybody like, are you humans? We get to see everybody. Everybody was staring at everybody. But again, everybody was coming out. They were going out to the tables. They were sitting with the people that they arrived with. And the waitress wore a mask the whole time. And she had gloves on. And a new device that has been implemented, I don't know if it's been around, but for the first time I got to see it, you were able to pay. There was a rubber, now the handheld credit card machine she had, but instead of her taking the card, there was this new rubber strip that you insert your card yourself, so she never touches your card. And so then, you know, you put it back and you're good. So things like that. The other thing
they should have never been taking our cards, you know,
and leaving and doing things like that. And again, they said if you're going to enter the restaurant to go to the bathroom or anything, make sure that you put your mask on. So that was another thing that happened. The other thing that I was going to talk about was having a few friends over again. So now that if some people, we were, you know, socializing just with your family or just the people that you were quarantined with. Now is the time to say, okay, I am going to have a party at my house, a group of 6 or a group of 10. Again, everyone who comes to the party, you know, ask the questions. Who have you been around? Know who's coming to your party. It's not just 10 random people. Understand who's coming to your house. Hopefully you would anyway. And understand, you know, knowing those guests. But now it's time. You can have a party and have, you know, minimum, I say 6 to 10. Not too many. You don't want to have it, you know, this is phase one again. You're still trying to, again, most people you know, you've socialized with, you've been communicating with, you know no one's traveling, you kind of get an idea who has what. Those people you have a party at your house. Couples, singles, now's the time to do the little baby shower, the bridal showers, the whatever, the little events, and have them, you know, at the house and be able to create those parties that you've been holding off on. And if you're interested, give me a call. We can help out with that. But the other thing, you know, going into, so I would say do that between now May and either June or July. So what did I really say? You're stepping back out at restaurants. You're staying with the people that you went. So if you want to have an event at the restaurant, you book the private room or you book some tables around the patio, or you do that at home, okay? Or you have a private event still, a little bit more personal still, a little bit more socially distanced at home, and you can have those parties in small groups of 6 to 10 people. So now you're slowly starting to get yourself back out there, and you're slowly starting to feel what it's like. Again, you're testing it out. Okay, so I went to dinner a few times. It worked. I had a party at my house. It worked. I went to a party that was 6 to 10 people. It's okay. Now you're flowing into it. So phase 2 would be, I'm thinking July, September. So between now, May, June, July-ish, and then phase 2, now it's time to plan the party for 15 to 20 people. Okay, now I'm ready. I've seen that the smaller groups have worked. It's working. Now I can do something in my home that's a little bit bigger. What is that? Well, now I want to do, 25. I had a party I've been wanting to do. It's an annual party that I do at my house. And again, practicing the same methods that you did with the 6 to 10 people, but now you're expanding it a little bit more. You're feeling more comfortable. By then, hopefully, a vaccine will be, found by then. Hopefully, we'll learn some more information by then. You're giving yourself time to allow the medical side and allow the social distancing that we've been practicing to see how it works. But you're also we're humans. We have mental minds. We have physical minds. We still have to get ourselves both balances. You talk about health. What is health? Health is internal. It's, internal, how you feel. It's also mental, it's physical, and it's spiritual. So if you're not feeling all of those elements, the scale's going to tilt. So I understand that we have to be cautious, but we have to slowly start getting ourselves back. So then by then in July, you're now doing more people. So the same type of events, but you're now having a lot more people you're doubling essentially what you did before. The other thing, again, the baby showers that you've been putting, the bridal showers, birthday parties, graduation, you put it off. I know you were able to kind of get away with something there, but you put things off for a while. Now's the time for those parties and events that you couldn't do in April or in March. You can now do in July. Start planning those for the end of summertime, between July and September. And now you're starting to get yourself back out. So again, phase 1, going out to restaurants, small groups, 4, 6, very, very small, going outside, sitting outside, booking the private room, having those little parties at the house. Phase 2, same type of stuff, just bigger group. Okay, just a bigger group. Now you can do the 10s, the 12s, the 15s, 25s. Okay, phase 3. Phase 3 is, okay, we know charity events, we know fundraisers, we know, now it's time to say, okay, we've seen, and this would kick off in October. So now you're saying, okay, everything is kind of working out. Surely by then, I'm banking on them, surely by then we'll have a vaccine. This will be something that's more of just a virus that you get like a cold, and things, or you'll be able to have the immunity to it, whatever. But by then it's time to now take it to phase 3. Let's start having those charity events. Let's start having for the different organizations, having your big private parties. What does this mean? That means now you're talking 30 to 100, 30 to 50 to 100, depending on the size of the event. You're going from and mid-level is all relative. And I'll get into when I talk about some of the trends that are going into 2021. Some people say, well, a big event is 100 people. Well, it depends. It's big if you're dependent on what scale you're speaking of. I have an event that I booked for Events by Cachet. That's January of 2021. That's 3,000 people. So that's a corporate event. So at the end of the day, events are big. But I'll talk more about that in a minute, but how they plan to do that event. But the point is, it's all relative. Again, at this point, though, you're in phase 3. It's time to start feeling like back to what you were doing before, because now phase 1 and phase 2 has worked out. The other thing is, what I was going to say is rent spaces. Now it's time to go back to the hotels. Now it's time to go back to the venues that are out there and say, okay, I'm ready to book. But don't wait to do this in October. Planning. What is the biggest thing about an event? It's planning it. It's having the time to do the fine little tuning. So what I'm saying is these phases may roll out, but if you know you want to do an event in October, you need to book now. You need to plan now. And in most event spaces and in most event companies are going to allow you a window curve, and you'll know if you need to reimburse, and people are going to be very flexible with you right now. So if something should change and a spike should occur, or we have to go in a different direction, we can then regroup and make sure you get with an organization where you can be refunded under the circumstances. But the point is, you do not want to wait to book that big event until October. So the phase 3 is looking at yourself saying from October to December that, and this is just getting us to the end of the year is what I'm doing. October to December, hopefully by then we're able to go back to the venues, we're able to have those charity events, we're able to have those weddings, you're able to have those big events that you couldn't have, going to church, doing these things that people want to do in big groups. But you know, what do you think about that, Aisha? What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I totally agree. I'm probably a little ahead of your schedule.
Go.
I mean,
Okay.
I'm also in the Woodlands. I'm not in Houston. You know, the Woodlands is much more spread out than Houston.
Sure.
I went out to restaurants 3 times this weekend. We had
Yay.
a prom party for my
You
son
are ahead of me.
Friday. Yeah, because you know, not much has happened here, and everyone's
Sure.
getting out and about, and the weather's perfect. And it's not as scary here because in the Woodlands you're more spread out. People aren't on top of each other.
That's a great point. Know where you live too. It's all relative. Yes. Yeah.
And so, and also we're on lockdown. Like all my kids' friends and everything were on lockdown for so long. So when they come over, I know that they're clean or whatever because they haven't been anywhere. There wasn't anywhere to go. So I'm really not overly worried at this point.
Which is good. Okay.
Because I also personally don't know anybody who had it either, you know?
Right. The social distancing was working. People were adhering to it. They were staying home. They were following that. No one was mingling with anybody. So again, back to the point, if you're starting to have your events, you're starting to get together, you know who you're hanging out with. All of those are the same people. So great point. No one was traveling, you know, so things of that nature.
And then, you know, there's another element to it too. Me and my family, you know, we practice a very healthy diet, a very healthy lifestyle, and we don't get sick a lot anyway. So I'm really not that scared for us. Now, like people like my dad or, you know, my mother-in-law or something, I would, and not that I worry, but, you know, I would want to protect them a little bit more, but I'm not necessarily worried about my teenagers or my husband or anything like that. Just because of age factor, you know?
No, I totally agree. Yeah, and so one of the other points that I wanted to talk about was trends. So because of, not just because of COVID, but one of the things that COVID has also amplified is the virtual event. So virtual events are going to continue. A great example is the event I was telling you that I'm booked to do in January, kind of mid-January, is again, 3,000 people. It's a 4-day event. And one of the things they're going to do is they're going to roll out the first day as a virtual event. So anyone who is interested and does not want to attend on premises or the venue is allowed to do virtual. So what that's going to do is that's going to break out, right? That's going to break out a lot of the people who say, hey, I just don't want to, you know, again, you're going to have two sides to the story. Some people are going to want to get out more, some people aren't. And then by January, this could change. If for some reason there's a major, you know, a cure or, you know, a vaccine that helps mitigate the situation, then of course people are going to change their mindset. Assuming that we're kind of in the same boat we're in, they're looking to say, hey, we can do virtual or you can go on the premises. So, you know, if some percentage want to do virtual, that will reduce the on-site socialization as well. They're going to, you know, the other thing is precautions are going to be taken, you know, some of the same sanitizing, doing things of that nature. You know, people can have that option as well. So virtual outdoor events. The other one is outdoor events. A lot of times we look to say, okay, we have to have a big event in a hotel room, right? Or we have to big inside. Well, a lot of times now we can start looking at doing things outdoors. Look at where, when you go to book an event, is there a backdrop? Is there somewhere you can have it out on a patio or on a terrace, on a beach? One of the things I want to, and I'm going to bring to what I'm doing is creative ideas. I'm going to be thinking outside of the box. When I meet one of the things I want to talk about with Events by Cachet, and then I'm going to kind of turn it back over to you, but is that my plan is to, when I meet with you, is to build something, of course, special, of course, unique, of course, that's a memory for you, but to be creative and come out, and y'all, you know me, I'm always, my mind is visionary to think of something that has not been done before, and to put that with your own special taste and to do something very different. So when you meet with me, that's going to be one of the first focal points is how can I, knowing you or meeting you and learning you with the questionnaire and talking with you and spending that time with you, how can then I pull out something that is going to be not only special and memorable to you, but that's going to be something that you just, it's just going to blow your mind away and be totally different. And doing it in a way that makes you happy. That's going to be important. But, you know, outdoor, and then again, break up the days. You know, if you have an event that normally was a lot of people that attended, what's a lot? Again, that's a relative number, so I can't say that. Depends if it's more of a commercial event versus you know, a corporate event or residential or family, whatever type of event you're doing. It all is relative. But if you're doing a big number, what's a big number? Maybe 200 people or more, maybe you break it out. Maybe you do an event change this year or next year rather, where you say instead of normally being a one-day event where we have 200 people in a room or 300 people, we're going to do it in 3 days. And so you can come to event day 1, let me know which day you want to come. You can come to it day 2, and accordingly people book which day. So now you've broken out the attendance, and the same event is held in 2 days. That was the other thing that I came up with. I don't know your thoughts. And then I know, let's just kind of wrap it up with, obviously in the Woodlands, there's a lot of charities events that go on throughout the year that got kind of postponed, as well as all over the world. But I'm assuming they're going to be picking those back up. Do you know anything specifically about the Ladies Night Out? I know that's one that you're a part of.
Ladies Night Out, unfortunately, it was completely canceled. Oh, wow. It was not rescheduled. I think there were so many events that were rescheduled, but there's also so many events that already go on in the fall. So to reschedule those is so hard. Like Ironman Texas, which is one of my favorite things, is here at the end of April. That couldn't be rescheduled here. Like the Woodlands could not hold it. So now it has to be in Waco. And, you know, it's just like you can't take everything from the spring and everything from the fall and get it all done. It's just not going to happen. So
again, people need to plan.
Yeah.
So they need to start planning.
There's always next year. Yeah. And hopefully people will still donate. Like I know a lot of the people with Ladies Night Out, they just donated their money that they bought for their tables. They didn't ask for it back. So hopefully people continue to do that and keep charities in mind, even though they couldn't go to the events. But, it's a hard time for everybody. You know, some people can't now afford, though, either to give. That's another problem.
Yeah. So, and I think that's the other thing. We need to look at, how these events are done. One of the things is people need to, get creative. And, expectations need to change. I think this is what I'm hearing you say, and I totally agree with you. It doesn't have to be the big ostentatious events. It has to do, the message is what it should be. Getting the money for the organizations, helping out the causes that are needed in the most, the most, obviously in this case, effective way, right? Maybe we need to cut corners in other areas to make sure that we make up for the area, like you said, where people can't give as much, maybe. We need to then think about those kind of things and taking into consideration when we're booking. But yes, I am booking. I am looking to book some events. I've got one big one there, and I got two actually others on the radar. So, but give me a call. My contact information's out there. I told you, you and I are going to be doing something together as well. But
I can't wait.
In summary, what do you say? Anything else you want to tell everybody before we sign off for this morning?
No, I'm excited about getting ready for this evening to celebrate you and your birthday.
It's not just me. It's not just me. I appreciate it. No, yeah. So I'm looking forward to it. We're actually going to do our first a group of 5 or 6 ladies, private room. I had to go down to the Woodlands anyway. I had to go my car. I got to drop my car off at the service. And so I thought, perfect timing to come see the ladies and meet with you. So we're going to let everybody know how it works. I think we can do it. All right. Well, have a wonderful day, everyone. And we hope you got some great tips out of this. And we'll see you. We'll see you next week. All right. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye, girl.
Cupcakes and Bubbles, located at 26400 Kirkendall Road in Tomball, Texas. Cupcakes and Bubbles has the sweetest and most delicious cupcakes for the entire family. From chocolate raspberry, strawberry rhubars, cookies and cream, and the most popular among kids, the s'mores cupcake. Come and enjoy our cupcakes with a glass of your favorite bubbles. Visit www.cupcakesandbubbles.com for the complete list of our delicious cupcakes. Order online through our webpage. DoorDash and Uber Eats is available too. Enjoy life's sweetest moments with Cupcakes and Bubbles.
This was a proud sponsor of KNLY 91.1 FM.